Good morning, students. Welcome to geography class. Today we will continue with chapter number 4, that is human settlement. I'm using a new software. Let's see how it's work. So we have already discussed in human settlement that what is human settlement. Indian human settlements are different in size and type, and that also divided into two parts, that is rural settlements and the urban settlements. In rural settlements, we have seen different types of rural settlements and the conditions or the factors required for that purpose. But on the other hand, we have seen urban settlement. We have started that with the topic called evolution of towns. A town, a village, and a city. I have already told you a difference between them. Okay, and towns have evolved from, you can say, 5,000 years back. Means towns are existed even in the Indus Valley civilization, which was there around 2500 BC. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro are one of the examples. So in evolution of town, we have studied that we have divided the towns into three parts, that is ancient town, medieval town, and modern town. Next topic which we have to study today is the classification of towns. So in India, on classification of towns is divided into two parts. On the two bases we divide that. One is the population size, okay, and the other one is the functional basis of that town. What are the functions, how that town functions, what are the importance of that town, so that all comes under the functions. So classification of town is basis on divided on the basis to one population size, वहाँ पे population कितनी है और उस town का function क्या है या उसके पुरानी importance, cultural, religious or any importance also have play an important role in that town. So when we are discussing about classification of town on the population basis, we have a city or class 1 town, metropolitan city, and mega city. Three different kinds of city. First is called as a city or a class 1 town based on the basis of population size. Class 1 town, second metropolitan city, third mega cities. So what is the difference between this? It's about the population size. So when the urban center population is more than 1 lakh, that is called as a city or a class 1 town. On the other hand, if the population size is between 1 to 5 million, that means 5 million means 50 lakh. If the population of any area is in between 1 uh, million to 5 million, that is called as metropolitan city. Means किसी भी सिटी की पॉपुलेशन अगर 10 लाख से 50 लाख के बीच में है तो उस सिटी को हम मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटी कहेंगे. Then if what is then mega city? Mega city means when the population of that area is more than 50 lakh or 5 million. If the population is more than that, that is called as mega city. So classification on the basis of towns, population size, you will find three kinds of city. One which is known as a city or a class 1 town. वहाँ पे population is more than 1 lakh. Second is metropolitan city, from where the population is in between 1 million to 5 million. Third is called mega city. Population of that area is more than 5 million or 50 lakh people living, more than 50 lakh people living in that area, make that a mega city. So this was about the classification of towns. Even the census of India, so you will find that the census of India classify the urban centers into 6 classes. So let's see the 6 classes. So this is the table according to 2001. In your book you will find table of 2011. So you will find a table of 2011, but a major concern, we have to look all this. We have to look first only the first two columns. We have to look only the first two columns, in which you will see that according to census, Indian on the population size, the class of a town is divided into class 6 town, class 5th town, class 4th town, class 3rd town, class 2 town, and class 1 town. So if the population is less than 5,000, okay, this will remain same even if it is in the, you can say, 2011 census. So you will find the class 6 town means population is less than 5,000. Class 5th means population is between 5,000 to 9,900, so one less than 10,000. Then the 6th class 4, here it's one mistake, it is between 10,000 to 19, this will be a mistake here, it will be 19,999. So this is 10,000 to 19,999. Please make sure that when we are talking about class 4, yes, when we are talking about class 4 town, the population is in between 10,000 to 19,999. Next, class 3 is 20,000 to 49,999. If the population is in between this, then we can say that town is a class 3 town. If population starts from 50,000 and it goes up to 99,999, that is called as class 2 population town. And if the population is more than that, then it is called as the class 1 town. So this was about the census and how the population size classifications of towns are done on the population size basis. You will find class 1 towns, metropolitan cities, and mega cities. And we have also towns also divided from class 1 to class 6. Now, what we get through from this is that here you will find that the majority of the section, majority of the populations lie in the class 1 town. Okay, if we are talking about 2011 data, it is mentioned here 2001, but if we are talking about 2011 data, you will find that the 60% urban population lives in class 1 towns. 60% of the urban population lives in the class 1 town. And this also, out of this, you will see the maximum population in one of the agglomeration called Greater Mumbai, where the population is around 18.4 million. Roughly, it's around, you can say, uh, 2 crore. Okay, so that was about the population size. Now, one more key factor which you can come from this, that the majority of metropolitan and mega cities are called as urban agglomerations. So what is urban agglomerations? It is a build-up area in a, you can say, urban areas where you will find all the local governments, authorities, municipalities, and all area can be in the form of a big mega city, or it can be in the form of 2-3 cities which are closely are present at the proximity, and they supported the outgrowth. When we are talking about outgrowth means a city which is growing outwards. You will find that in Sirsa also, you will see that Sirsa is developing on the Hisar Road. Yes, you will find Om Sune there, you will find Haveli, Nishuraj, all these restaurants, schools, and there are very high possibilities in the coming futures that the uh, bus stand of Sirsa will be also be shifting to that area. So what the city, there is a limited place in the city. When the city grow outwards or uh, near to the national highways and all those, that comes under the, that is what is called as the outgrowth. So when we are talking about urban agglomeration, then there, what are the factors, how we can identify that a place is called a urban agglomeration? So there are three identification which you can use to find out, okay, that this city is the part of urban agglomerations. So first is a town and its adjoining urban outgrowth. So if a town have a large population and also have an adjoining urban outgrowth, then that place can be called as urban agglomeration. Then if two or more contiguous towns with or without their outgrowth, if two towns are there, then also that can be counted as the urban agglomerations. A city, so a city and one or more adjoining town with their outgrowth together forming a contiguous spread, means a spread uh, supporting a large population in that area and having all the facilities, basic facilities which are required to sustain a good healthy population there. So this was the three different factor conditions from which you can easily identify that this is an urban agglomeration. Okay, so this was about the, you can say, urban agglomerations, and major of the urban agglomerations are in the form of metropolitan cities and mega cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. We have currently, if you visit page number 37 on your book, you will find in table 4.3 that we have around 53 urban agglomerations in India according to census 2011. And Srinagar, Ludhiana, Amritsar, Chandigarh, Faridabad, Delhi, Jaipur, Jodhpur. So all this comes under the Surat, Baroda, all this greater Mumbai, they all come under the urban agglomerations. And out of them all, Greater Mumbai is the largest agglomerations. Okay, Greater Mumbai is the largest agglomerations. So this was about the classification on the basis of population size. But now the next topic says functional basis. Functional basis means that that town has a central nodal places, or many towns have certain specialized services. Okay, that city or town can be or a specialized functions for which they are known for. So means there are some towns which are generally known for that particular places like Mumbai. Mumbai is known as the financial capital of India. So then we have Chandigarh, which is one of the administrative town in India. Then we have places like Jharia, it's in Jharkhand, which is famous for the coal mining. So according to that, all different uh, towns have different functions, or they have a rich history related to some religious culture, or that can related to industries, or many other, that can be a cantonment. So they have a specific function. So on this basis, uh, what the specialized functions are, we divided that uh, towns into different towns. For example, first is called administrative towns and cities. So administrative uh, town and the cities, I hope you all know what is administrations. Yes, to control, to govern the government, like that is called the administrative administrations. So towns supporting administrative headquarters or higher other of administrative towns are come under the administrative cities or towns. Some of the examples are Chandigarh, yes, New Delhi. Even Chandigarh have the legislative assembly and all the CM of, yes. So CM also sits there. So that makes Chandigarh, their Vidhan Sabha is also there. So that makes the administrative town and the cities. New Delhi, Bhopal, Shillongs are the example of this administrative town. So administrative town is clear. Industrial town. When we are talking about the industrial town, where the, you can say the city or a town which is famous for industries or which have a law, which have a history of industrialization and supported the major industries manufacturing units in that town. So you will find that industry constitutes the prime motive of the cities like Mumbai, Salem, Coimbatore, Jamshedpur. When we are talking about Jamshedpur, it is also known as the Tata city. Yes, you will find the Tata's plant, Coal India, all those plants in the Jamshedpur region, and that supported the industrial town. Okay. Next is transport city. So when we are discussing about transport city, it will be definitely be related to some transports, whether it is in the form of uh, uh, ports or imports, exports from the different countries. So ports primarily engaged in import, exports are come under the transport cities like Kandla. It is in the Gujarat. Kochi, we all know it's in Kerala. So Kochikode and Vishakhapatnam. So all this are the town which are the called as the transport city. We also have inland towns, inland uh, transports like Agra. Okay, we have Dhulia, we have Mughal Sarai. So that also constitutes the transport cities. But overall, transport means when it's primarily related to the, you can say the uh, port cities like Kandla, Kochi, and Vishakhapatnam. So this was about the transport cities. You just have to remember that, just remember transport city and one example. Just remember industrial town with one example. So that you can easily write that in your book. Next is called commercial town. Commercial town, basically commercial is related to trade. There is commercial means commercial cities which are related to trades like Surat. It's one of the commercial town also because of the trade of diamonds. Yes, almost 70% of the rough diamonds are polished all over the world is polished in Surat. So that means that is the commercial towns, and towns and the cities specializing in trades and commerce are kept in this class. At Kolkata, yes, Saharanpur and Satna are the example of this. So Kolkata is also famous as a commercial town. It supported many trade activities. That is why it's come under the commercial town. But you can also write Surat. So you will find that one city or one town can have multiple function also. It doesn't mean that they have to stick with one point only. That we will see in details after some time. Uh, let's just take the next called as the mining towns. Mining towns which are famous for mining, where you will find the coal extractions, where you will find the copper extractions, you will find minerals of different kinds, uranium, oil, anything that comes under the mining towns. And uh, this are generally towns developed near to the mineral rich areas comes under this, like Raniganj, Jharia. So Jharia, we have already told you, it's in Jharkhand, famous for coal mining. Digoi, it's in, related to oil refinery, and many others which supported the mining system of that area. Next is garrison cantonment towns. Garrison cantonment towns, it's about the towns which have generally constitutes or the major area of that town is supported by or is habited by army or army establishments or garrison towns, garrison establishments. You will find that Ambala Kent, Jalandhar Kent, Mau Kent, Udhampur Kent. So here you will find a large establishment of army, paramilitary forces. So the towns which supports more uh, habitations of army, paramilitaries, all that towns which are famous or basically are functional towns specialized for just that they have more army presence like Hisar Kent. Hisar is also one of the, you can say, comes under this garrison town, Hisar Kent. So that comes under the garrison town. Next is educational towns. When we are talking about education, that means that will be a center of education. So Roorkee, yes, we know that Varanasi, Aligarh, and BITS Pilani. We know that the Birla Institute of Technology, Rajasthan, is famous for education. Allahabad, in 90s, it was very famous for the preparation of civil services examination, and from there it became the educational town. Pilani, all this comes under the educational cities or educational towns in our India. Religious and cultures, it's very important. Amritsar, yes, Golden Temple, we know all that. Ajmer is famous for Dargah. Varanasi, we all know. Mathura, Krishna, and Puri, Jagannath Puri temples. Kurukshetra, yes. Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. Pushkar, Mela in Rajasthan, you will find there Haridwar or Ganga, Ujjain. So all these are have a very religious and cultural significance in Hindu communities or in any other Muslim, Christians, any other communities. So that towns which supports that religious or have a rich history comes under the religious town. Last is called as the tourist town. What is tourist town? Which is famous for tourism, which is famous for tourism or which attracted the maximum number of tourists from different places like Nainital, yes, it's have Mussoorie, Shimla. Shimla is also the capital of Himachal Pradesh, and you will see that during the summer vacations of children or during you say May and June, it's abito because of the corona, all are in, all are at their home. But during May, June, you will find that almost all nearby areas, Haryana, Punjab and Delhi people start visiting the tourist places like Nainital, Mussoorie and Shimla, which are a little bit colder as compared to uh, their personal areas which have the high heat and the system. So Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, Ooty, Mount Abu, they all are the tourist destinations. Okay. Now, as I already told you, so some of the towns have their uh, process that they have some specialized function, but cities are not static in their function. That means they are not just supporting the tourist town. Suppose if I take the example of Nainital, if we are just talking about the Nainital, Nainital is a tourist town, but at the same time, it also have the High Court of uh, Uttarakhand. It also have the administrative unit there. DC also sit there. That also make him the administrative unit. So that is what that one city is not static. एक city काफी ज़्यादा specialized functions के साथ काम कर सकती है. Like Delhi. Delhi is an administrative unit. Delhi is a capital town. Delhi also supported industries. Yes, on the outskirts you will find the industries. In Delhi you will find the educational towns also. Delhi also supports education systems. So this all comes under the that cities are not static in their functions. They are basically multifunctional in nature. They are multifunctional in natures. The function changed due to the dynamic natures. As we evolved, the urbanization take place. People started moving from the rural areas to the urban areas, and during a decades, on a period of times, that system changes and converted into a multifunctional changes. So one city can support different specialized functions also. But yes, there are some cities which are specifically famous for some, uh, you can say, purposes. Like you will say in the Jamshedpur, it's related to industrializations. Yes, Zaria, it's related to mining system. Okay, so Masuri, it is related to tourist town only. So the function get intervened, the city get be categorized, cannot be categorized in a particular functional class. So now as the system is evolved, now the cities cannot be categorized under a, yes, functional classes, but we have to be studying this in this chapter. So this was about uh, this chapter. One topic is left, that is uh, smart city missions. We will take that in detail and the question answers. So I hope it is clear to you. Thank you so much.